During the next half hour, we'll show you how teamwork at a Southside parish leads to a much-needed playground being erected in only one day. We'll take you to the Theology On Tap kickoff event, where hundreds of young adults enjoy food, drink, and terrific insight from Catholic communicators. And we'll talk to Cardinal Blase Cupich about several topics, from Renew My Church to Catholic cemeteries. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
The Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Hello, I'm Todd Williamson, the Director of the Office for Divine Worship with the Archdiocese of Chicago, here in studio with Cardinal Blase Cupich. Cardinal, it's good to see you.
Todd, good to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There's a number of things that we're going to talk about today. A lot of stuff that's in the news. We continue, for example, to hear about the problem of violence here in Chicago. And in a number of different venues, from an interview in April to recent gatherings you've been at, you've made a connection between the violence in the city and segregation and racism.
Well, yes, it's clear to me that there are many causes to the violence that we have there. A lot of people point to the guns and also the breakdown of family, and that's true. But I think another aspect that can't be ignored, that we can do something about, is the way that people feel as though by living in segregated neighborhoods, they have no out, they have no options. And they feel also the harm done by racism, where their lives seem to be of little value and they are demeaned. That particularly impacts young people, as they have aspirations like all young people do about the future, and yet feel as though there's kind of a glass ceiling where they can see what other people are doing into the future, and yet they can't ever achieve it. And so there are forces within society that hold them back that we can address and we can speak about. We can make people more sensitive to how others are suffering as a result of segregation and racism.
One of the city councils made a point that if segregation and racism could be limit 30% less violence.
Yes, it has such an impact. As you talk to, as they do surveys of young people who are involved in this kind of criminal activity, where they, in fact, join gangs and have no other options. A lot of these young people get involved in gangs, and their initiation rites involve gun violence. Yeah. And so it's not a matter of them wanting to do that, it's a matter of belonging. And so we have to give them some options. And a good part of that, of course, are the job creation over the summertime. The city's doing its part. Catholic Charities is hiring almost 500 people, some of our parishes as well.
Yeah.
So summer employment is also very important.
So the parishes can have an effect, and
they are,
and the parishioners.
They are having an effect, and I just want to encourage that. I just want to make sure that we look at all of the issues that are involved, and not just say it's about those. It's about gangs. It's about guns. It's about breakdown of family. Those are all involved. But we also can do our part with regard to the topics of racism and segregation.
Yeah, it's all connected, right?
Right, yeah.
And as you said, the parishes can play a part. A number of our parishes in various communities really have an effect on the community.
Right.
One great example can be found at St. Columbanus Parish in Chicago's Park Manor neighborhood, where a much-needed playground took shape in just one day. The playground was erected by more than 200 volunteers from Radio Flyer, St. Columbanus Parish, Augustus Tolton Catholic Academy, and the local community with Kaboom, a national nonprofit dedicated to bringing active play into low-income communities. Our radio TV team was on hand to document the event.
I found out about Kaboom by doing some grant research and found out they build playgrounds. And the scholars at Tolton Academy do not have a safe place to play. They're in school from 8 until 3:30 every day with no recess.
Play is critical to childhood development. It's a brain expander, muscle builder, friend maker. It challenges kids and gives them a place to be themselves and be able to beat kids. So what you see going on behind me today is building a playground with volunteers from Radio Flyer and the Augustus Tolton community to build a playground in 6 hours.
On Monday of this week, there was nothing here on this lawn. It was just an empty dirt. We had removed all the grass, taken down a tree, and today we'll have a brand new playground built here for the children of our church and school and also the children of Park Manor. We have Kaboom, we have Radio Flyer, St. Columbanus Church, Augustus Tolton Catholic Academy, Kirkland & Ellis Law Firm. We have some Zetas and Sigmas, Sigma Gamma Rho, which are some sororities that are here with us. So just a really mix of people. My mom is out here, some of my friends are here. So we just have a great mix of community here today.
This is our 8th playground build in Chicago, and every year our whole company comes out, and it's an amazing day where we take basically an empty lot and transform it into a beautiful playground. One of the ways we're having a lot of fun today is that we've donated a bunch of great products, wagons, tricycles, and scooters for the kids to ride on and play with and hopefully enjoy for many years to come.
This week I was with a family who lost their 17-year-old son, a family who lost a 15-year-old son, and just talking to a young man that stopped by our build today who witnessed someone lose their life less than a week ago, not far from our parish. And so people here in the community know that St. Columbanus Church is somewhere that you can come to receive food and services and just a sense of hospitality and welcome. And I think that's what the playground is ultimately going to be. It's a sign for our community that our church and our school is deeply invested here in Park Manor. And we believe that when we come together as a community, we have the power to change the community around us.
Roll about the ocean, roll about the sea. Open up your hearts to build community.
This is so awesome. We were lucky to be partnered with Radio Flyer, and all of their employees always come out on their playground builds that they participated in. And today we even had a gentleman just driving down the street who saw what we were doing and wanted to volunteer. So the fact that we've advertised it and talked about it so much, all of the community people and our parishioners and former students, they're all out here today helping us build this playground. I think it's absolutely awesome.
It's us, it's us, it's us who builds community. It's us who builds community. Ooh, roll about the ocean.
Man, I'm feeling it.
Roll about the sea.
Open up your hearts.
Open up your hearts to build community.
We made it.
Roll about the ocean. Roll about the sea.
Open up your hearts.
Open up your hearts to build community.
Wow. Father Matt O'Donnell and that community of St. Columbanus, they are so devoted to that community of Park Manor, as are many parishes in the Archdiocese. Their leadership and their people devoted to those communities. That makes a difference. We were just talking about that.
Well, that kind of leadership that Father Matt has brought to the community is replicated in other places. One of the nice things about the work that he's doing and other pastors are doing is they're engaging communities outside of their area. They're asking people from the North Shore to be a part of this. He has a food distribution program where there are people from other parishes who come and help, and they're a part of this as well. I know that's the case of other places. Father Manny Durantes this summer is running a summer camp program because there were so many kids who were just left at home as their parents were working over the summer. I know that Father Flager down at St. Sabina's also has summer programs. So we have tremendous leadership in different parts of the city, especially for the minorities, African Americans and Latinos, that are really making a contribution to safety within the city.
Right, and you made the point, not just for their parishes. Father Matt made note in that video that certainly the playground will be used by the children at St. Columbanus, but it's for the whole community.
Exactly, and it really is allowing the church to be a field hospital, as the Holy Father has asked us to be.
Yeah, and a way that the parishes really can make a difference.
That's right.
And affect change. Right?
Exactly. They are very transformational, and I think that is something that we should really applaud our priests for. They're stepping forward and doing great work.
Yeah, exactly. Cardinal, in the midst of all of this, other things are in the news these days as well. The continuing debate in Washington about health care. What are the key elements as this debate continues? What are the key elements that every Catholic should know about?
Well, we begin the discussion not by proposing any particular formula for health care legislation. That really is up to elected officials. However, there is a main principle that we start with, and that is healthcare is a basic human right. It is not a commodity. It's not an add-on. It's not an option. Everybody needs healthcare just as they need food and water and air to breathe. So we want to make sure that we understand that it's not just a privilege for some who can afford it. So it has to be universal. It has to be universally available to people, and that means, of course, affordable. So there have to be formulas by which, in fact, people of lower income have real access to health care that can benefit their lives. The other piece about that is when people's health is taken care of, then that means they can work, they can interact with people in society, they can take their place in the whole process of democracy, they can benefit their families and support them. So health, it really is the basis for human interaction. That's why it is a basic human right.
Nice. Yeah. In many ways, in the context of faith, this is a matter of mercy and justice, right?
Yes, and it's a pro-life issue as far as we're concerned. It's about basic human life.
Yeah, and the support of that, and the care for that.
Exactly, and so it really does give people the capacity to live a full life.
Nice.
Yeah.
The news, at least in this area, is also filled with some positive things. Theology on Tap has begun. And Theology on Tap, of course, is the summer-long program for young adults. They meet in various places all over the Archdiocese. Good, solid Catholic teachers, presenters on various topics. More than 450 young adults attended the Theology on Tap kickoff event at the Old Crow Smokehouse in Chicago's River North neighborhood. The gathering featured Father Tom Rosica of Salt and Light TV in Canada and America Magazine correspondent Michael O'Loughlin. We caught up to Father Tom to see what all the excitement was about.
We just don't sit back and wait for people to come to us. We got to go to them and go to the places where young people gather. And one of those places is a bar. It's a coffee shop. It's a place where young people gather, and we've got to go there, not just to drink, but to meet and to talk and to share. And I think this idea really took off from Chicago, and I'm really happy to be part of it here in Chicago for this inaugural moment of Theology on Tap, because it's a perfect example of where we meet people. We go and meet them where they're at. You take over a huge bar like this wonderful place in the middle of downtown Chicago, gather people together, the church offers food and drink, and you invite speakers to come in, and it's been a real great privilege for me to be here. I've had the privilege of working with Pope Francis and doing some things with him, and so this is an opportunity to talk about the big questions of young people and how those questions are finding flesh and blood in the life of this Pope and in the life of the Church. It's also an opportunity for young people to ask us whatever they wish, and if we know the answers, we know them, we share them. If we don't, we can say, I'll get back to you on it. But it's a dialogue. It's not me giving a talk as much as it is a chance for them to meet us and for us to meet them. Whenever you meet somebody who's authentic, you can't help but say, this guy is cool. This girl is cool. This person is serious. Pope Francis has appealed to many, many people, to old people, to young people. This is an old man with a little bit of hair, but it's nothing to do with age. Francis walks his talk, he walks the walk, and what he's done is to meet people where they are. And I think the reason why the world has turned on to him is he's real. There's nothing put on. What you see is what you get. People often say to me, what's it like when you're with him and everything else? And I say, well, you kind of have this insatiable urge to hug him, but before you do that, he does it to you. He meets people and he's simply true. When people meet such authenticity, it really goes deep, and you say, I want to be with that person, I want to meet that person. I think that's a great part of it. He's also spoken to some of the big issues of our time, especially his whole interest through Laudato Si and the care for creation has been a very positive thing, because that's something that young people are interested in. What kind of future are we going to leave? What kind of world are we going to leave for young people, for our children? That's a legitimate question.
Theology on Tap. That's a Chicago product.
It is. It's an invention
Yep.
out of our own presbyterate here, which, of course, they have done many imaginative things over the years, and we're proud of it.
It's caught on. Other dioceses all over the country do it.
Right.
Are you speaking this summer?
I have been, I think, scheduled for
Nice.
one of the Theology on Tap. I usually do that. I always thought maybe that there was more tap than theology going on, but I have to say that the young people are really engaged, and I talked to Father Tom afterwards, and he was delighted. He said what we have going on here in Chicago is really should make everybody envious of the wonderful program we have.
It's a great setup. I mean, the young adults meet. They meet in various places, sometimes at parishes, but oftentimes in a local pub, a local restaurant, and they engage in conversation about
Right.
a particular topic. Theology on Tap, I think, is just very exciting. It's great to be part of. They're energetic. They want to know. They want to know about their faith, and it's just a great opportunity.
It is, and I enjoy it because their questions are always very imaginative, and they make me think. I learn a great deal from that that experience.
Yeah. The last time I talked, it was on Catholic understanding of baptism, and just the desire to know and the insights and connections that they make. Do you know what your topic is for this summer?
I don't, but I'm sure they'll give it to me. But you know, no matter what the topic is, we always stray off of it because of their questions. They get into other things that they're concerned about. So I think all of these Theology on Taps have to leave room for that kind of interaction that takes place with them. You got to be kind of quick on your feet too, because sometimes it's like a little ping pong match.
They're sharp.
You keep going back and forth. Yeah.
They're sharp. Well, it's one thing for them to come and to hear, professor at one of the local universities. It's another thing for them to come and to hear their chief shepherd, their pastor. I think that's noteworthy.
And I enjoy it. I think it comes across that I enjoy it. It's not drudgery for me at all, because I think that in an experience like that, you come away really gaining a whole lot, and I love their imagination.
Yeah, especially if there is a little bit of tap with the theology, right? To learn more about Theology on Tap, go to totchicago.org. Please stick around. We'll talk to Cardinal Cupich about Renew My Church and Catholic cemeteries after this break.
Hello, everyone. I am pleased to invite you and your peers to join us at the National Catholic Youth Conference, November 16 through 18 in Indianapolis, Indiana. This conference brings together 35,000 high school-age Catholics and their chaperones from across the country to pray, learn, and grow in their faith together. This year, I'm planning to join nearly 1,000 Chicago young people in Indianapolis as I meet with you and celebrate one of the opening masses. The conference features concerts, keynote addresses, faith-sharing opportunities, and most importantly, celebrations of the sacraments. This Festival of Youth is a great opportunity to develop and witness your faith as a disciple of the risen Christ Jesus. Talk with your youth minister and pastor to secure a spot at this conference as soon as possible. For more information, please visit the Department of Parish Vitality and Mission website at the Archdiocese of Chicago. Hope to see you at the conference in Indianapolis in November, and also at the Send-Off Mass at Holy Trinity on Sunday, September 10th. May God bless you all.
The cemetery ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
Welcome back to Catholic Chicago. Cardinal, one of the things that we want to talk about, ongoing process, ongoing effort, is Renew My Church. And recently, you wrote in the Catholic Chicago about a way to look at Renew My Church through the lens of the sacraments of initiation. I thought that was quite interesting. Tell us about that lens.
Well, it just seemed to me that we wanted to make sure that we anchor Renew My Church in our beliefs and what our core values are. Otherwise, it can very easily spin off into maybe just some sort of organizational reorganization or structure. We have to make sure that we don't secularize it, that we really anchor it in our core values. And it seemed to me that our sacraments of initiation, which we understand as 3, baptism, confirmation, and Eucharist, are really the basis that will keep us focused on what we're doing. So for instance, in baptism, it is an opportunity for us to die to ourselves. And Renew My Church does have each one of us take a look at our own personal responsibility for passing on the faith and how we live our life. And it means that we're all going to have to give up something. We're going to have to not only change the way we live, but also how we look at parish life. Parishes just can't be self-referential, as the Pope says, but rather they have to be configured in such a way that carrying on the mission.
Right. So the idea, baptism incorporates us. It's not just me.
Right.
It incorporates us into a body, into the body of Christ.
I'm a different person because I'm baptized. As St. Paul says, it is no longer I, but Christ who lives in me.
Right.
So we are members of a body, and so that means that we really can take on His mission.
Yeah.
What does that do for us?
And it calls us to look up beyond just us, beyond our parish, into the greater area.
Right. And say that, and then of course the confirmation, that ritual early in the church has always been understood as that final blessing from the baptistry that ushers us into the Eucharistic community, where in fact ongoing formation and conversion takes place. So that we begin also with the understanding that Renew My Church has to have the outcome of uniting us. Mm-hmm. We have to have a stronger community life. And that's so very important. And then finally, Eucharist sends us out into the world. So we're not just here for ourselves, but we really have to have that new life that we bring. That's really the experience of the resurrection. We see that on the Easter Vigil. Yeah. Our experience, the way we experience the resurrection on Easter, is by baptizing new people. Yep. We see the new life in them. We have that reading in the Gospels about Mary Magdalene coming to the tomb. And who does she see? She sees 2 who are dressed in white. Well, at the Eucharist, at the Vigil, those who are baptized are always dressed in white robes.
Their baptismal garment.
They are symbols of the resurrection taking place. So it's important for us to realize that we really have to be about a mission, right? Not just maintenance when we consider our churches.
The sacraments of initiation culminate in the Eucharist. Renew My Church. In the Eucharist, what are the last words? Go and announce the gospel of the Lord.
That's exactly.
That's what this is about.
That's right. It is, and I think that we also have to understand that Renew My Church does force us to take a hard look at some of the variables in our church today. For instance, this year we have 23 priests who will reach the age of 70, which is the age of retirement. Now, if you count those 23 plus the ones who are over 70 who are pastors, still working in parishes as a pastor's or assistant, that number is 53. So if those 53 who could retire are gone, leave, go into retirement without any work, we would be in a very tough fix here.
Sure.
So we have to pray for vocations. We have to be smarter about how we use our personnel. We have to make sure that we don't burn people out. Renew My Church is going to look at all those questions.
Excellent. As we said, it's an ongoing process. We'll visit again in upcoming shows, I'm sure.
We sure will.
Last thing that we want to talk about, number of events have happened at Catholic cemeteries recently. And Jim Dish from TV and Radio Office has a report here.
Oh, great.
A procession of hearses moves slowly through Mount Olivet Cemetery on Chicago's far southwest side. They carry remains of Cook County's indigent, unknown, and unborn persons who are laid to rest at a committal service attended by church and county officials, local funeral directors, and volunteers. The service includes the unveiling of a black granite monument, marking the grave sites and emphasizing the value of every life.
As we gather this afternoon, we not only remember those souls that have returned to God, but all people who are suffering, folks who are excluded and alienated, those who are left alone.
We may not know their stories or the challenges of the people we memorialize today, but each person was a member of our community. A friend, a neighbor, a son, or a daughter. This monument is a symbol of our community coming together to care for one another.
Since 2012, Catholic cemeteries in Cook County have partnered in providing 420 indigent, 57 unidentified, and almost 900 unborn persons with committal services and a final resting place.
There is injury your pardon, Lord.
Meantime, at All Saints Cemetery in northwest suburban Des Plaines, Catholic Cemeteries opens and blesses the cremation garden of St. Francis. It's the first cremation garden in the Archdiocese of Chicago, providing a sacred and comforting setting for cremated remains.
The Catholic Church teaches us that we're to treat cremated remains in the same way that we would treat a full body. And so that means that the cremated remains have to be laid to rest. As Catholics, we believe that cremated remains should stay intact and be either interned or entombed in a Catholic cemetery. This is the first cremation garden of its kind in the Archdiocese, and it's in response to so many more people choosing to have their loved ones or themselves cremated after death. We want to make sure that we have something for everyone.
A great event at Catholic cemeteries. Burial of the indigent. They've been doing this for a number of years. This is an important act of mercy.
Well, it
right?
is, and I think that what it also says is it tells people that no matter what faith a person is, we as human beings are dehumanized when we don't take care of the dead. That's why it's a corporal work of mercy. It allows us to really recapture our humanity, because when we treat the deceased remains of a human being with respect, we're saying something about ourselves. We're reminding ourselves of our dignity. And so that's why it's important. It's not only important for the ones we bury, it's important for ourselves.
There are terms that are used like the unclaimed or the unnamed. I think it's very
indigent,
I think it's very profound.
The unborn too.
Right.
Exactly.
I think it's very profound that we as a church see this as our response. We don't need to know your name.
That's right.
If no one else claims you, we claim you.
Well,
I think
it is. It's a really, and I was so glad we had a nice crowd there.
Yeah.
As you say, and I'm really grateful to Michael and Brian, our cameramen, for the wonderful work that they did in bringing this into the homes of people. And it shows that there are really a lot of folks who are interested in this.
Yeah, and with and see it as a responsibility that they share in. Thanks for the conversation about the Catholic Cemeteries event, about Renew My Church, all the things that are going on here. It's great to spend time with you.
Well, thank you. And I just want to have a shout out to all the people who work at Catholic cemeteries. They have such a professional, a wonderful organization, and we're very proud of them.
We're very lucky.
We are.
Leaders in the nation.
It is true.
It is. Cardinal, as always, it's
Todd,
great to be with you.
good to be with you.
Thank you very much to our viewers. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time here on Catholic Chicago.
We invite you to watch segments of Catholic Chicago and hundreds of additional Catholic videos at youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter.